All right. Now we are recording. What are best practices when ordering books from my school library? Why are you ordering the books you're ordering? William Allen White. Okay, so completing series, books that you know that are popular, authors that you know are popular. How else do you decide what kind of books to buy? Yes, we've got Teddy and Hoisington just moved to a new school, and it used to be just K through 3. Is that right? I mean Lincoln, but 3rd and 4th grade. So now she's got kindergarten to no, 2nd through 5th. Okay. So she's got all kinds of levels. She's got to figure out what these kids are reading, and so anything else? What they come in and request. Okay. Award winners. That's always a good way to start. Yes. So what are your readers? Why do they read? Reading counts, AR, goals, anything like that. Sometimes they have interests, yes, that you hope to fulfill, so keep them going and keep them reading. So mom says, teacher says, mom says. Hopefully we're working towards getting them to read for enjoyment. When the books we're choosing, hopefully that's a big part of what we're trying to do, is find books that we can connect with kids. And what about your teachers? Are they asking you for any materials? Some, yes. Yeah, whatever's in their curriculum. So you might need to learn what's going on in their classes and see how you can support that curriculum. How do you have any different formats? And do you have just books? You know, if we've got lots of different formats available to them, and if you have any kids that have the tablets, you know, the one-to-one, or they've got them in their classroom, or we hope, I'll show you some resources today that will hopefully supplement the classroom and the kids reading and finding what they want. And these resources are at no cost because they're through the state library. So you've got readers at all levels, at all interests, and formats. Do you have any audio books? Some. And we can get those online, because if you've got a kid struggling, you might want to try audio. They can have the book in front of them and listen, and you have access to some of that. So this morning we're going to talk first here a little bit about Ingram, because besides the fact that you can get a pretty good discount, and Missy's going to talk about that, there are some really good resources within the Ingram site that can help you choose books as well. So that's going to be our stepping off point. But you know what? Before I do that, I asked Mary Beth to come in and tell us a little bit about Spring Fling. Get you excited about that.
Good morning. I'm Mary Beth Schaefer. I'm the assistant director here at CKLS, and I also do continuing education. And on May 23rd, we are doing our Spring Fling, which is our business meeting in the afternoon. But we also do a lot of good workshops throughout the day. It's going to be at Rolling Hills Zoo Convention Center. We're going to start at 8, where you have time to go through the museum. There's a scavenger hunt. We're also going to learn about poverty in Kansas and talk about ways to bring in resources for kids, for patrons. It's going to be a combination for public schools and for school libraries. We're going to talk about how to build partnerships within your community and how to bring in support groups or organizations that help with people that live in poverty. We're also going to have time to go to the zoo. They're going to have a trolley tour of the zoo in the afternoon, so it'll be a little mix of some heavy subjects with a little bit of fun. And the afternoon, the business meeting, I believe, is at 1:30, and that's where you vote for CKLS stuff. So I encourage you guys to be there too, since you're part of the CKLS system. We want to make sure that your vote is heard as well. If you have any questions, you can ask Christy, and if she doesn't know, she'll direct them to me. Or if you come up with questions later, you can always email me or call here at the system, and I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. So I hope you guys can make it. It'll be fun. There'll be lunch provided, and
and a little bit of housekeeping. You guys here, I know you can get up anytime. There's water and snacks in the back. If you need coffee, you can go out and holler at those girls and they'll point the way. We're going to probably work till 11:30 and then stop for lunch, and start back up at 1. So that's the schedule for the morning. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Missy, who is now our acquisitions manager, and she's going to talk to you about income.
Well, good morning. I'm Missy Esfeld, and I'm kind of new at this presenting thing. I've used Ingram for years, since I came to work here almost 10 years ago. But presenting is a little different. Some things, and if I know most of you that are doing this have Ingram accounts already, and I think they're on. I'll show you some things. You can customize your account if you go to My Account and change settings. I'm going to log in under myself, Christy. So if you scroll down, there are some things you can change on your page. If you want like accelerated reader, how many things you want to come up. Predictive search is good to have. That's when you're typing in the search bar, it'll start suggesting books with that title or similar. Sure. To minimize it. I'm at My Account and then change settings. If you scroll down, you'll see duplicate check from search results. You want to turn that on. And you also want to make sure that check against all selection lists is usually a good one. And that is going to, when you make your order, that way you can make sure that you're not ordering a book you've already ordered or that's already in your cart. And then down here is one that the school libraries may like that I don't use personally, is hide icons or show icons. That shows your award winners and things like that. It's going to come up and I'll show you how that looks. And then you need to be sure and update your page anytime you make changes to it. So then if you go back to your home page, everybody can set up their home page differently. Where it says customize my home page, you can go in, you can change your backgrounds. See, like here, you just change my background. You can change whether you want to see catalogs on or bestsellers, and like if you scroll down, you can see I have lists. I've got shortcuts to different things. These are the lists that are built, the carts that are sitting there waiting. And then I like the catalog section. That's one way to search, is through your catalog. You can go to the Ingram Advanced, and we'll go to another way to get catalogs, and there are a lot of them. Like you can see, there's fiction, general, and there it's pulling up the catalog. And so you can place your order or drop them into your cart straight from here. So let's go back to this. I'm going to go to the Browse tab. And I'm just going to put in books. And it comes up with different sections. And where you guys are children's or teens, like if I go to browse all children's hardcover, it's going to bring me up 329,000 books. That's where you want to be sure and use your filters over here on the side and start narrowing it down, depending on what age group. And if you click more, you'll see you can get your YAs or preschool, things like that. So like if I click the YA, include those, but I want to exclude adult and update it, it's going to narrow it down a little bit, down to 14,000. You can change it to when they're coming out, or put in, like if I went to December 1st, March 31st. And it took me down to 108 products. But each time you make changes, it's a good idea to update that category, or you can click several boxes at once, but be sure and update, and that's going to change your filters. Underneath, you can see the little icons. This one shows there's a picture. If you lay your cursor on it, you're going to get the big picture. And if it has, if it's got a little trophy, it means it's an award winner. I don't see any names. I'm not familiar with. I saw that. Table of contents. The book has a table of contents.
And OPAC, that's got it, is already in the Pathfinder catalog. So if your budget is limited and you can go a few books because you know you can be the library and loan them, that's a nice thing to know.
Well, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's in.
Oh, okay.
It means you can go to the OPAC view and check.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see every one of them has OPAC, but that means you can go check it against your catalog.
Well, a Pathfinder.
A Pathfinder, yes. So if you only want books that are under $10, you can update them that way. When you're doing searches also, you see here, you have different options. Title. I was looking for a book yesterday and just put in shadow. That's the title. Did a search. And it comes up with 14,000 items, shadow. It's probably got shadow in the title. So in that case, if you narrow it down and say title exact, narrowed it down to 65, then you can kind of see which author. The one I was looking for was this Miles. So you can get a little closer. There's one that's an award winner. Another one, you can click on this one and look. It should tell us which award it won. Oh, their capital choice is noteworthy, and books for children and teens. So it also gives you the subjects. It gives you an age range of what they think that book is for. So those are all things to look at when you're. In this case, it tells us what's in the warehouses. These are our two primary warehouses. There's not much there, but there are in the other ones, and they will go out to those other warehouses and get into us. That's when we may get a little shipping. It's not a whole lot, and we try to share it instead of, because the maximum is going to be $5. You know, if I have 30 books going to 10 libraries, I'll probably share that $5 on those. Split it out, you know, because everybody gets exactly once
When
in a
you're
while.
making your PO out, and I'm going to show you again how you get the number that's discounted. You might want to add $5 just to pay for
Well,
shipping.
I wouldn't. No, because the PO isn't, as far as we're concerned, because if your book's going to trickle in your order, it would change. If you have title, keyword, and you put in an author name, you're going to get books with that author's name in the title. So you need to definitely change it to author if you want to search for an author. If you put an ISBN in when it says title, it will go to the book then. It's not quite as picky. So here I have created a selection list, which is your cart. And they're in alphabetical order. Any of the schools that have created carts already and that haven't been ordered, I've changed and put in the school town. So if you're looking for your cart, it will say USD, whatever, and the town name. So if it isn't where you were looking before, it'll be in a different location, but it's still there. If they're in yellow like this one, these mean that I have ordered them. If they're white, the people are still working on their carts and building them, or just not ready to make the order yet.
So most of the schools just go to the last page.
So here's one that I started creating, and it's got my name there. I have 25 items in my cart, and if you click on the view, it'll take you to my cart. And you'll see when you're building a cart, after you get done with it, go through and look for things like this where it says publisher out of stock indefinitely. If you go to that title, it will look like this. You'll see there's no warehouse, no numbers. You're not going to get that book. So sometimes it'll say there's other formats available, but in this case there's not. So that would be one we'd want to take out. Here you can see I've got two of the same title. It's pretty obvious. But if I run the check, Yeah, there's some, and depending on the view, you'll be in different places.
Yeah.
So you'll see this is my current cart that I'm in right now. It's showing the other libraries that have ordered this, so you need to pay attention to that. Because if your library is listed there, then it means you have already ordered it in a past order, or it's in another cart that you're building, and it will give you, the name of your cart. Okay, so yeah, there it is right there. So it's showing that it is there, so I'm going to select it for delete, move, or copy. Down at the bottom. And it is kind of tedious at times, and some people think it's very clunky. But so the one I selected, I'm going to say I want to delete that book, and then I'm going to apply it. Take it out of there. And I'm going to go back. Also, you'll see here is the full retail price. If you hit the price list, and if it's a very big order, you'll need to refresh your screen. It's going to take it a little bit to price it. There it went from $436.19 to $248.85. Then you can just hide your edit options if I'm done messing with it. I'm going, so like this one, I will take out. There you can see it took out the Dog Man book. And it shows all the award winners. If you don't want that, you can just say hide those icons. Yes. Oh yeah, you can lay your cursor on, and it will show you. There are books on order for the warehouses. It was maybe a popular book. Oh wait, it hasn't come out yet. 5 of 18. If they're very far down the road, start them in another cart or save them, set them aside for later if they're like 3 months away, because they're just going to sit on back order. And sometimes you'll see that I'll go in and start you a new cart and send you an email and say, hey, it's not come out for a while. I put it in a new cart titled, and give you the name of the cart. Like these. That one should probably middle on 10. There's quite a few in the warehouses. But also on your order, you can do the stock availability. And it shows you how many are in our primary warehouse, how many are either back ordered or available secondary. These 2 are not going to ship, or 3 aren't going to ship at all. And sometimes you can go, and, a newer version available. So let's click on that. And there it is in their stock. You could add that to your list. I can go and find my list. I think that's that one. Yeah. There are a lot of lists in here. And then I can just add it to my list. Return to list. Like this one. Read it. And that one also. once you take something out of, when I order, if I take it out and then place the order, I can't add it back in, but I can add it to another order later. And if you're just wanting a book or two, just let me know and I'll drop it in. I have what I can call a quick order that I use for libraries that send me slips to order. And that's an easier way probably than building a cart. Because I may just drop it in mine anyway. Usually if I do that, I'll let you know that also. If I've ordered it, it's not going to turn yellow because I'm dropping it into a cart of my own. So like this one. Okay, here you can see there's none over here on the side. But if you click to view all formats, you may have some other options. In this case, there's paperback. There are some in stock. See, not available, out of print. So be sure and look for all those bold-faced messages. Yes, after a while they do delete, but it's quite a while, like 6 months or a year. So our discounts are 42% on hardcover for the most part, 38.5% on paperbacks. Audios can be up to 45% until you put them in a cart and price your list. You have to price the list. Some of them, they have SRT, and that's a short discount. And some of those, maybe 8%. There are some books, but it's more large print and that type that say net. There will not be a discount at all. But University Press, a lot of times is 8%, and they're usually coming from our other warehouse, so there's going to be some shipping. Some of them are 15%. I think library binding.
Sometimes also like library binding at a party, for 3 different times, private and one.
Yeah.
But I sometimes a couple I really wanted that were non-fiction, and they're like $45.
And I think library binding, our discount is maybe 15%. And I don't know whether it's worth it to take that cut.
Hardback is $12.99.
Mm-hmm.
My whole bit of wisdom.
Yeah, and the main thing is to look your cart over before you say order, because if you get a duplicate, you're getting a duplicate.
That's right. I ordered one in Chinese 1 year.
You're not the first person. So another search option is the power search. You can go in and select an age group. I usually change the language to English, just so I don't hit Chinese books.
Okay, where are you using that?
The power search. Under search and then power search, and that'll take you to the screen. There are a lot of different things you can put in as far as narrowing it down. I'm just going to use those two and see what it comes up with. We have 6,000 items. In our warehouses, there's 80,000. So there are a lot of ways to search, and you can go right to here and drop it in your cart. And you'll see after you use it a few times, your cart's going to be listed there. Or you can click the boxes next to them. And down the bottom of the page. There's my cart again, and I can add them from there. It's telling me it's a duplicate. Do you want to keep the duplicate? I'll take it out, and I'll say skip it. So that's a nice feature also. Getting those. You can go to iKids and search through there. I usually keep it just as active. Extended, I think, goes for rare books and things like that that I never find use for. Oh, one thing you can do, like here I've got a search going, and this one may be too big. Let's go to okay, like here I clicked on his, there's not very many titles. I can go to, I can save the search. It worked? Oh, there it is, right there. Save search. And save it. And then if you go to save searches, it'll take me back. You're on a page that's got 100 books or something, but you want to remember where you were.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice feature. iMatch is something that, Teddy, when you go on Pathfinder, is something that you will use. It will match. I can go to my list and say iMatch the list. These are against the Pathfinder catalog. And here, there are no matches so far against Pathfinder, which is unusual. But it could have been the edition that I picked. These are your keys. If there's an exact match, you can go and look. Sometimes there will be, sorry, let me find a list that's been ordered and one that probably does have. Okay, so like this book, these are exact matches in Koha. Then you can go to the OPAC view, and there it's going to show me which libraries have it in their collection. This yellow one means there's a possible match, and it could be it's in a different format, but same title. If it's got a green bar by it, it means title match only, but other than that, nothing else matches. So you can see there's quite a few of these. So as a Pathfinder library, you might go, there's plenty of those in there. I don't want to order that book. And spend my money on something else.
These guys, they know it's out there.
There are the catalogs here. You can go. Don't click on the order form ones. You'll see those different nonfiction, fiction, children's. And there are archive catalogs if you want to go and look back. And I want to go to December.
They already have names,
Yeah, I think I just got those in the mail now. So from here, You can look at the stock check also. They're on order. The release date was the 5th of September, so they must have sold out. It's a board book. It gives you all the information. It also shows you a picture. And from here, I can click on them and add them to my cart also. So that's a nice feature. It also gives you the synopsis. Yes. So down here, I'm still listed, and I can add them from there. If you want browsing a catalog, that's the catalog. Oh, the marketing tools. And I usually don't put anything, just no filter. And it brings up marketing tools that people use. Like, there's a flyer, teacher guide. Nothing. I just left it blanked in the first one. I printed this off and show it. It's the flyer I printed that came from this. Also, they have like free things you can give away and just download and print. Sometimes they have bookmarks. This is a fairly small one.
So, can they search by a title? Say, is there any, a new book is coming out, and you can search by what they have up there. The filter can be
Right.
a bookmark or a flyer up there.
Yes.
Book trailer, that would
Right here. You can just say flyers. Depending on how big the teacher guide is, I did one that was like a fairly small one. It was like 2 pages, but some of these you can see are bigger files. It might take a little. These are all flyers that you can download and either print or just use. Kind of a neat feature that they added a few years ago. So here's the teacher guide for the first one that I picked. And you can see it's 13 pages. The questions, ways to use it.
Tell them about the public and private one.
Public means everybody can see your list. Private means only I can see your list. And when you tell me to order, it's always a good idea to say check in the private, but it really doesn't matter. Most people don't care about each other's list. Okay. So the teacher guides give the teachers a lot to go by, and there's quite a few things listed in them. So that's kind of a neat feature. The iPage webinars are kind of a nice thing. You can sign up for the webinars, and they're usually, I think, on Wednesdays, if they still are. If you sign up and don't watch it, or even if you do, they'll send you an archive to it. You can watch them later, and a lot of times there are ways to use Ingram search features and things like that. Some of them are only 30 minutes or something, some are an hour. That's how I've learned a lot of my search tools. Like here, too, you can edit what you want to see. The different lists, New York Times, hardcover nonfiction. And that's just going to give you suggestions of what's kind of current and popular. Sometimes there's quite a few listed, sometimes there's not. Some of them may have been out for months, so they may not be written, but they're still on the bestseller list. So those are ways you can change your page. Down here, contact information is nice. If you're having trouble, you can email them and they email back pretty quickly with answers. If something's not working on your page, or you just want to know, how do I do this? That's nice to know. They also have in the help, there's a user guide, and that downloads as PDF for using iPage. So if you don't find it there, send them an email. Down here is the link to Wednesdays with Ingram. And those are their webinars. There you can click and sign up for them, and you just put in your email, and they'll send you reminders that, hey, it's coming up in a couple of days, or it's coming up in a couple of hours. And like I say, usually I sign up whether I watch them or not, and then I go and watch them later. They are informative. There's some I found, like grids, didn't pertain to me at all. I watched about 10 or 15 minutes and stopped it. Didn't do anything. They're like youth selectors, but that's grids. Juvenile selectors, that would be a good one. So, any questions? I just went to browse and books. Now you can change it to high interest categories. I think Christy said she likes that one. And here, this is the page I was just on. You can see children's.
Once I'm not browsing books, then where do you get this one?
Over, went down and over.
Okay, gotcha.
Or you can just go to this first one that says books. Click on books, it takes you to this page. And then you can click like browse all. Yeah. And that's, they do have a lot of box sets, and you can narrow that like on the side. Let me see if and this is your predictive search. There, I'll just put diary of a wimpy kid, and you can see they've got 112. More, let's see. There are some box sets, so you could say, yeah, I want to see those. So there, you can see those are all box sets. If you click on one of them, where it says discount regular, that is going to be the normal, or you see these are hard to tell sometimes. There it says hardcover and paperback. Sometimes in this view, it just says box set, and I can't tell whether the paperbacks are hardcover. So, you see here it doesn't show either. So sometimes that's a guessing game. A lot of times I'll run over to Amazon and put in that ISBN and look it up that way and see if it shows paperback. The box sets are kind of hard to tell. Sometimes it is.
I mean, to help you find the content.
Yeah.
Like, my part,
Pardon? I went to my account and under Ingram Services, this last one says marketing materials. And then when I clicked on that, I didn't fill in anything. I just left no filter and search. Because I wanted to see what all kinds of marketing they had. And so sometimes they're pictures, sometimes they're teacher guides, flyers, sometimes they have bookmarks that you can download and print. And if you decide you want the book, you can click on the ISBN, it'll take you right to it, and you can see if there's some available in order to go with the guide. And see there it says marketing materials available for this product. You know, they give you Dewey numbers, they don't always, sometimes they do. They give you an age range, juvenile nonfiction. Up here, you'll see there's a message. If you see that, you've got a message from Ingram, and you can click on it. And they're having a webinar for grant writing, which might be good for. So you would just go and register for it. Tells you how long it is, when it's going to be, and it's tomorrow. So, oh, there, register now.
but I'm busy at 2 o'clock to do it. So, where do I find it from?
They send you an email with the link. And I've had some that I went back a year ago and watched. I still had them in my emails. And
there's not a place in Ingram to go look them up. You have to have an email.
I believe so. Let me see. I think they want you to register for them. Yeah, I think you have to sign up for them to get the link to.
Where do you can find that?
This was on the home page. Right here, see, sign up for iPage webinars. Click on that, or you can find it Wednesdays with Ingram down here. And that also takes you to that same page. And as far as I know, they're always on Wednesday. Sometimes they'll send you emails that say, we're giving away a book, and put in your information. And I've won 2 or 3 books from Ingram by doing that.
At the bottom of the web page.
Or on the home. Yeah, or it's on the home page. Okay. Right up here. Sign up for iPage webinars. You click on that, and it takes you to this, and you can look down through and see. But I did see there's one on grant writing tomorrow.
You can click several boxes and find all of them.
Yes, yeah, and I do that. I'll look down through them. They're around 2 o'clock, but like I say, if you sign up for them and don't watch it, they will send, even if you do watch it, I think they send you a link because they archive. And they'll be, you can
Get them in a folder.
yeah. And that is nice to have.
All right, you have any more questions for me? Yes, once you've got your login.
Yeah, start building cart, but before I place an order, I will need billing information and I'm not sure. I haven't read it since last week. Plus, we need cataloging instructions.
I'll have, you set up fine labels. Cataloging,
How they're going to be delivered to the library. Okay, we need to know that.
you guys know that you've got to talk to your city library and go on the courier. So
And what I'm hearing is school board needs to talk to the library board. I've been hearing that lately, so
I don't think,
that would be a Gail question
Yeah.
to find out for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll ask her, but it's been pretty formal.
It has been.
Go and talk to them and say, the only reason that they would want to talk to their board is that it ends up, you have a lot of, that was more for courier, using the courier like for ILL. Because they have to pay after a certain amount. You might want to share the cost.
Well, I did hear this last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and once you say order my books, I assume that you have the money to pay for the books because I have to pay for them. Yeah.
They can't order anything.
Right.
Until it's approved.
So
I have a list.
there are ways that if you make a spreadsheet and have the ISBNs, if you go that route, you can drop them into your cart. A lot of my libraries like to do that. So you would go to it says add items. It'll bring you to a page like this. You can copy and paste your spreadsheet into there and make the whole list. Or if you just have one and want to add that, you can do it that way also. Should be. Should be. Now, you can see how long the list is. Now this, you're not seeing everything. My list is 3 pages long. So we like you to not have them sit there for a really long time because we're having to go through that every time to search.
If you started on a spreadsheet, it's really easy. Just create a card.
Yeah, and
Because every time you have an order, you have to make it. It's not going to just stay in the order through all the time.
let me go to this. When you create a list, you're going to go here to create new list, and that's under lists. Right there, takes you to this. Create new list, and you're going to name your list. I have one in there named Missy, and I'm going to say create it. It says nope, you can't do that. So I would need to make it a variation of that. Sometimes you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, until it turns yellow. Once it's yellow, don't put any more in there because I'm not even going to look at that list anymore. If you have several lists, like you've got one that's nonfiction and one that's fiction, you've been creating, but they can be ordered together. You can let me know that when it's time to order, and I'll merge those lists together. It's probably easier for me to do it than because you have to kind of sort through them. But if it can all be ordered together at one time, it makes it a little easier. Yeah.
And when you're ready, you have to email her with the name of the cart, and I will get the list, or you can email me the list of what you need. And also, if you want the record, all of you want mark records when you order the book.
Yeah.
Make sure that
Right. Right. She is working on that for another school right now.
You process them, put your label, your fine label on, and then I'll have the covers and everything. We send them through the courier to your public library, and they will alert you of the arrive. And then all you have to do is you'll put your own stamp, you'll put your own barcode, and any other. But we'll mark records. And we're working through the process now. We take the Dropbox to Google Drive.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Right up here where the bell is, there was a little one, and it says you have an email. You can just click on that. And if you want to see it or archive it, you need to register. So you click on register today. And right here it says register now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can forward it to you. Well, there it says, can't make it. Follow us on Twitter. For more information, let's see what's here. This one's coming from the Library Journal, and that's probably who your email, I think, comes from Library Journal. I have some of those also. Okay. Well, thank you. You're welcome.
Right underneath the desk are some plug-ins. Okay.
Hi, gang. We're taking a break. We're gonna stand up and share. Was that helpful at all to you guys?
Yep.
Oh, crap, I just stopped here. We're all taking a break in here, Zoomers. So we'll be back in just a minute. If you have any questions, send them in the chat, and hopefully, I don't know how that translated to you guys, but let me know. Oh, there.
All passwords are secret. That's why we have passwords. I know, but that's what I use. I know that's what I use. Hi, Jerry. What's happening? Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Teacher emotion. He did it with no. He did it with no no talking. Okay. Dang, I know that maybe it's just push up today and maybe someone else might. See, like again on her stuff. Well, no, this is how that's how it's spelled online now. I'll send her an email. I did exactly online. I will. Okay. Yep. Bye bye. Yeah. Okay. I'll send her an email. Right. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, we're back. And I wanted to show you one more thing on Ingram before we go on. Up here under Browse, if you go to High Interest Categories, those awards she was talking to you about can be found right here quickly. They have different ways, like you've got children's K-12, teen. If your teachers are looking for Common Core, they've got it divided by grades and preschool. If you choose high interest titles, it's kind of like the high-low books that, you know, they've got good topics, but easier to read. You'll find a lot of them in these. And they give you a list and you can order from the list. And these are all coming out in May or June. So you kind of get a, okay, go back to browse and high interest categories. And then you'll get a page of stuff. And this K-12, if you're in the boat like you are, Teddy, where you need books at a certain grade level, if you go to the K-12 and choose your grade level, then they've got this high-low popular reading list. They've got it broken down into, like, if your 700s are, I think, are like sports, and you need to beef up your sports, you can click on that, and it'll tell you. That apparently wasn't sports. But there is some in there. So, and it's going to be some of the newer versions, like 2017, 2018. So it's finding, if you got an old set series, you know, you can go and see what they've got that way. So that's really nice, is that browse high interest categories. And then you've got best books, you've got broken down into grades, high-low interest. You might want to keep that in mind. Okay, so when you are, oh, I was going to show you this too. The link I sent to you in your email of the handouts, it's a link to a folder that is entitled Be the Best. Oh, I really got out of it, didn't I? Hold on. And it's going to have the schedule from today and some of the handouts from today. And in it is it's a copy of the purchasing from Ingram. And a lot of what Missy told you is in this. So if you ever kind of forget and want to go back, she is kind of walk you through it. I'm trying to see, one of these pages had pricing. Oh, here's your discounts if you ever need to justify it to somebody while you're using this. That's of your discount. And it doesn't have in here, it doesn't look like it. When you're ordering from her, she needs to know who the invoice is going to, so that's how she can address the invoice. The invoice is going to come to you in the box. The cataloging is just going to be a mark record. I mean, basically, they'll pull in a mark record for you, but they have to have your spine label and how you want that. And if there's anything else, I'll send out a note or add it to this folder for you, so you know what she needs. Okay, so there are some other resources to help you find good materials. And one of them is, well, just go to my email.
Okay, just something.
Did you get my email? Thank you. Huh? I've sent a couple. It was in the last, probably Friday, and then again Monday. It has the links and it has the Zoom for the people that aren't here, and then it has the handout link, and it'll take you to the folder. Okay, and you got one today too. Yeah. Really? You've got to put. You don't have me in your address book. Let's see, and it still goes to the trash. Still. Okay. You got it now? All right. One of the reasons you want to have some reputable resources for finding books. Has anybody ever had a parent come in and say, why is this book in my library? Okay, there's a whole process, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later. But if you use some of these resources I'm going to tell you about, even if you think the book is controversial, check in those resources and see if it's gotten a good review. It'll tell you the reason why it's still a good book, even if it has foul language, you know, and you can always fall back on that. The top recommended school library reviewing sources is the ALSC Notable Children's Book list. And you'll usually get, we'll get you signed up. As a member, you would get it automatically. That's the Association for Library Service to Children. But when I get it, I will forward it to you. So you've got a list of books that have been, you know, given awards. There's a magazine called Book List. And so any of these that you think your administration will let you purchase, you could check into that. We do not have Book List here in our library, CKLS, but I think I might be able to get you someplace that you can find at least the reviews. No, it's a subscription would be to Book List and School Library Journal. Now, School Library Journal, we do have the magazine here, and they come out in December or January with the best books of the previous year. Those are nice to go through, and eventually they get posted online, and I'll be sure to send those to you. And YALSA is Young Adult Library Services Association, YALSA. They have best books for young readers. What I brought in today that you can browse through later is School Library Journal and the Voya magazine, which is young adult magazine. They'll have reviews in it. I would say sixth grade, 6, 7, 8. and high school. But back to the services that CKLS has that you can use. In that folder, and I'm in the folder right now on the list of what we're doing today. We have EBSCO is what all the library aware is through, and the databases through the state library. We have, CKLS has, I'm just blank, subscription, and you can use it. The login and password, the username is CKLS users. CKLS and the U is all capital, and the rest is lowercase. And the password right now is just password. All lowercase. And I'm going to show you, I mean, don't get into it now and try it. I'm just going to show you real quick. You can get to the school library journal articles through this this website. So does any of this look familiar from the state library website? They've got Explora, and all the resources that they've got. I'm just going to go to EBSCO Research Database because it's going to cover all of those. And I am going to, well, you could go through and check just the ones you want. It's faster for me if I just say all of them. And I'm going to search for School Library Journal. And it's going to give you articles from School Library Journal. And over here, you're going to want full text. And I'm going to just choose the newest ones. What did it go to? 206. I'm even going to go. Okay, let's say that. And then, and it's narrowed it down some. And then you can search, let's see, the reviews. And it's going to give you not just the School Library Journal, but Horn Book magazine is also a magazine that reviews children's books. And I've done it full text, so you can click on that and well, that's silly. That's not one we want. Let me go back. I think if I put in book reviews, maybe. Of course, when I did this before, so you wouldn't have to. Okay, so if we look at this one. I'm sorry. Let me try one more time. you should be able to get just the book reviews out of that magazine. Maybe best books. Let's try that. Okay, there you go. So these are the different magazines. This is Publishers Weekly. Library Journal. They've even got videos. Here's Corn Book, you know, is going to be, and it's got the actual magazine article and the books. Now in School Library Journal, they have star lists. So you don't have to read through the whole thing. It'll have a star beside it, and it's got the grade level. They do it in grade levels. They review the books. And so if you just want a list of about 20, 25 books that just came out or were star reviewed, you can find them that way. But apparently you have to be more specific. So I put in best books of a year and see what kind of lists they give you. You can see there were some, here's International Language Art Choices reading list. You've got several pages. And if you need help, holler at me and I'll play with it and narrow it down for you. But that's one place you can do that, or we're going to have those magazines that you can ask me to send me the best reviews, you know, and I'll just send it off to you. There are some tutorials back on this front page, which maybe I need to do more of how to search. But that's one place that's good to find things. And then we've just purchased a subscription to School Library Connection. And it's going to be on our CKLS webpage. And it has reviews. They have, it's a pretty neat magazine for school libraries. It's got all of the hot topics. You can see organization and management, making your case for, you know, what you want in your library. There's workshops, ways to connect to the curriculum. But the reviews, you can search by the editor's picks. Well, I'm logged in. So you should let me see this. Okay, okay, I gotta admit, I haven't been in on this one. We just got it. These are actual books that they are reviewing. For school librarians, but we'll play with it and I'll get you some more information about it. But it'll be an icon that probably looks like that book with the face, and you will have your own login. And we'll probably do maybe another online, a Zoom meeting where we can just walk through it and show you around. Because she just got me in yesterday and I really haven't played with it yet. I can look around though. There's articles. Okay, we won't play with that too much. One other place. Okay, it just came in my head. Oh, back in Pathfinder. When you search for a topic and you come up with a list of books, and let's say you were looking for Wizards at War, down underneath all the information about the book is Novelist Select. And this is a really neat thing to have. If this is a series, they'll have all the books in the series in order. If someone has read through that whole series, then here's some other series you might like. Or here's some titles that you might like. Or here are some authors that are similar. And then underneath it, you know, it tells you why. So if the kid really liked the book because of, you know, the whole different world thing, then if you click on that, it's going to give you some more books that they will find interesting. Or if it was more about the mystery of it, then they give you a list there. And you can sign up for emails. They come out with the newer books, like from Library Aware, it comes through. And Novelist Plus, if you click on that, it is also a reader's advisory tool. So you've got author read-alikes. If your teachers have a certain book, you might check here if they want to do a discussion. You can come up with a guide for them. Or the books that have been, you know, turned into movies. Maybe they want to read the book first, then the movie. So there's maybe just some grab and go book lists. I don't know what I want to read here. Try these, you know, that type of thing. So those are really nice features that you have access to. And Novelist Plus is a state library database, but Novelist Select is something that CKLS purchases, and it's part of the catalog. So, Pathfinder, you can go to Pathfinder. If you want to, you don't even have to log in if you just want to search. But yes, if you want to go ahead and order the books that you find, you'll have to log in with your card. Okay, now I know that do any of you have a selection policy that you're aware of how to, what to, and you know, I'm going to encourage you to do this, but only for your own protection and in the simplest form that you can get it done. I'm gonna show you some samples, and like I think this one is only 2 pages, but your school probably has a mission, right? And can you see how you fit into that mission? How a library does? You know, you would want the mission of your school to be up here, but you're choosing books. Let's see if what all those things we talked about this morning. You know, why are you choosing? How are you selecting your books? Why are you doing this? Well, they've got. Let me see this one. Okay, this is a high school. They say this selection policy is designed to serve and support curriculum and the needs and interests of students, as well as informational and recreational needs of the high school community. The library provides a wide range of materials for varied levels of reading in a variety of formats, selected to enrich curriculum and foster the development of our students intellectually and socially. It's pretty, but kind of all the things we talked about this morning are there, you know. So that's just the start of it. And why is the selection policy necessary? You want to maintain a balanced and broad collection of materials. You know, if your classes aren't doing a lot of research, you don't have to put a lot of that in, you know. But if your main emphasis is getting them in there to read, you know, your selection policy wants to say we want to provide any format, you know, whatever they're interested in reading. You want to just have it in writing there. The selection policy is necessary to ensure continued growth of the collection because we have this mission. Theirs is pretty hoity-toity. Support the democratic process and, you know, inform the community about the procedures. Provide a measure. This is just one of their, you know, this is just one type. So support the academic, professional, and personal needs, support students at all levels and interests, and encourage and inspire and stimulate their interests. I like that a lot. Most selection policies have a responsibility for selection. And so think about how you want that. You know, is it solely your responsibility, or are you asking teachers and students for input? And, you know, if we can word it correctly, it's like you want those teachers active in the selection process, you know, so it isn't all on you. You want to know what they're doing, and you need suggestions from them, and try to word it that way. Gifts of materials, free and sponsored materials, are evaluated by the same selection criteria as purchase. And then we're going to go down to look at the criteria, but that's nice to have in there, so you don't feel like you have to take something and put it in the collection that is 20 years old, but the teacher gave it to you, and you know you don't really need it or want it. You know, the kids aren't going to use it. So how are materials? What is the criteria? Contemporary, of permanent value. You know, that's to me saying they want hardbacks. It's going to last longer. Contribution to the curriculum and educational goals of the school. Relevant to the interests of the students. That makes sense, right? So there's an out for taking one of those gifts, or they send some companies send you free stuff all the time, but it's, pretty weird stuff sometimes, and you don't want to put it in there if it's not going to be relevant. Favorable reviews, and that's your where you're finding your books, and authority, reputation, significance of the author and publisher. You get, so you know which authors your kids like, and you get to know the publishers that hold up, their books hold up better than others. And hopefully underneath some of this other stuff, your school is looking at diverse viewpoints. Some kid that came from the city, and is from a different culture, maybe you're going to have some different books for them. Multicultural awareness is a big thing right now. We're in a pretty much global world. So, all different types of people should be represented in your characters and in your story. Quality, durability, and variety of format. Suitability of format and appearance for intended use, value to the cost of use. And that's their basic, pretty simple. And so that's what I thought we'd work on until lunch. I've got several here. We've got the Library Bill of Rights. Are you familiar with that at all? So? Okay, this is what American Library Association says. Books and other library resources should be provided for the interest, information, and enlightenment of all people of the community of their library service. Materials should not be excluded because of the origin, background, or views of their contributing to their creation. We've got some classics like Huckleberry Finn that get challenged because of the stereotype. Would you want to pull those all out of your library? Well, hopefully not. That's kind of what the Bill of Rights is saying. At the time it was written, it was appropriate. And if you have to talk about that, then you do, all points of view, historical issues, material should not be removed because of people not agreeing with it. Libraries should challenge censorship in the fulfillment of their responsibility to provide information and enlightenment. In other words, it's the libraries. You want to protect those rights of any book to be in the library. In school, it's a little bit different, and we know that. A person's right to use the library should not be denied or abridged because of origin, age, background, or views. So for you, a kid should be able to check out any book he wants to, even if it's not the right point. That's a little tough sometimes to sell with teachers and or parents. But that's something we want to strive for, because if they're interested, you want them to read it. And you want to make spaces and meeting rooms available so everybody can use the library. So that's the basic Bill of Rights. And I thought I stuck in here the one for schools. The ALA one is what we just read. But it acknowledges, and I'll get it in here if I don't have it. it acknowledges that there are differences. It's a community, and parents should have the right to tell their children, you don't need to read this. But you as a librarian, a parent you can send it home with the kid, and as the parent comes in, you say, well, I can't tell him he can't read that. That's not my job. But if you're telling me you would prefer he didn't read it, okay, we'll do that. And you can do that as a school librarian. A public librarian is supposed to, anybody can check out anything they want. Have you run into any of those issues in your school? How did you handle it? Okay. Just preemptive. You send home a permission slip. Okay. What's in it? Mm-hmm. That it's okay. Anybody else? That's so sad. Captain Underpants is so fun. Okay, well, so if you had a selection policy, do you think that would help you with a parent or a principal? Could you write this yourself, or should you have input from your staff? No. Yeah, teachers, or they wouldn't want to be bothered. Would they go along with it though? Your English teachers would do that. Yeah. You sort of have to have buy-in from the staff and or principal. One of these has got a form that you fill out. If someone comes in and says they're not happy about this book being in your library. Tossing myself out, sorry. Okay. And this one goes as far as taking it to the board. This is a request for your material to be reconsidered about being in your library. And I had several things come up in St. John, and one of them was a gun magazine that we had. And we were a school public library, so this magazine was on the adult side, but the high school kids had access to that material. And a mother was really uncomfortable having her son checking out this magazine. And along with the form, you have a committee. You at the beginning of the year, it can be a couple of teachers and a couple of students and yourself and the administrator. And mine was, because we were public, I had teachers, minister, we had a couple of students. It was probably 7 or 8 people. But you listen to what the problem is, and then you say, well, if you explain this is access to all, and if you don't want your child to have that, if you feel comfortable to say, I will not check that out to him because you prefer that we didn't, it may be the end of it. But if she says no child should have access to this magazine, you should have anybody, then you say, well, we have a procedure for that, and you have this form. And when they fill it out, it's their information, it's what they're upset with, and what resource to your attention. Well, my child was trying to buy guns online. I don't know. Have you looked at the whole? A lot of times people haven't even looked at it. They're just upset, that they saw a naughty word and their kid, said it was in there. Or are there any resources you could suggest that would replace this? And what do you really want to happen? So you have that information. And then what we did was all the members of the committee had a chance to look at the magazine, and then they got together and they looked at what the problem was. And I think they even invited the mother in if she felt like it, tell us what's going on. And because all kids should have access, and we were a public library that they went with, it'll stay on and it takes it off of you. You can share information with them, but they make the decision. So, if they decide it needs to be pulled, then you've got to do that. Or sometimes they'll say, we want it behind the desk. Well, you'll know.
It's up to you guys.
It's back there, but you'll still have the magazine. It'll be in your catalog. It just won't be out.
No.
Would that make you feel better to have
He's weighing in on the
have
decision.
that kind of support and a process behind
Decision of the
what you're buying? And you've gotten full library journal, and you've got some reputable publishers, Ingram, that have suggested these books behind you when you put things on the shelf.
We didn't look through these journals. Is there ever a time that it says you really shouldn't be buying? Or do they?
Actually, in the school library journal, and maybe book list too, it'll say the writing was really poor and it didn't cover the topic. Yeah. 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 But they're pretty honest. Like when some of the Grissom books came out, and everybody just loved them, and then there was one or two stinkers, and then they said, you're probably going to buy this because it's his name, but it's not going to be anybody's favorite book. They'll say that. Sure. So
Then if you end up having that, you can't go back to that. That was my point about now. So you want to make sure that you kind of check with some of those things.
yes, that you can say, okay, when I get this book, I can, even if I haven't used it, a school library journal book list, call me and say, hey, I need some reviews for this book. And you can see if the reviews weren't very good and you still have the book and they want it off, you won't feel so bad, and if the reviews are good and it says, this is real life language, but, and kids, this will appeal to kids because it handles this topic well, even though there's this language, then you've got something that helps you defend your purchase. Yeah.
And it would bring you
Yeah. Yeah.
And the child is on the farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just missed the teaching moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, and that's hopefully when they come to you and they're upset and you just listen. A lot of times all they wanted to be heard, you know. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that happens a lot with that social media.
You take things literal,
Yeah.
free, you want to Christmas tree or whatever. So as soon as you like them, I end up ordering 4 or 5 of them because I can count up and order.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. The kid, you know, the kids, when they get it, they think it's hilarious, you know.
One of the t-shirts that I would have expected to have on the
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully, yeah, you kind of can pick and choose your committee too, you know, that hopefully you've got some open-minded people that will, you know.
Yes, anything, but I have to you must like this, you have quite a few. But they're low that level for the low.
Yeah.
I know they don't get it, don't learn it.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. So how about, I've got some paper back there. How about we work on some mission statements and look at some of these policies that are here and outline something that maybe you can go back with and think, you know, well, pick and choose what you like. This kind of purpose paragraph, the library media centers and the Wellesley Public Schools exist to support teaching and learning in grade K-12, to encourage the development of critical thinking skills through collaboration with classroom teachers, to help foster a love of learning and reading, to provide access to informational and recreational materials for school community. we can switch it up a little bit. You know, if that's pretty succinct and not real wordy, I mean, and
You just put on your school website,
yeah, you could put it there, and you can, you know, say this is how and why we select the books we do, and it's transparent and it's out there. It's in your folder here. All of this is in your folder. If you want me to run off a copy, I can. You want me to? You want to go through the rest of it? Do you want me to run off two or three of these, and you can pick and choose what you want? And yeah, I'd put it as a selection policy. Hey, since there's just so few of us, how about would you like to go out to lunch together? Okay. Anybody like Mexican? Okay, let's do Maria's. And okay. When you want to break about 11:30?
Hi. So you're missing books.
You want to see if
Maybe
anybody else wants to go?
I had a thing. It said something about the book, the car, and I was just gonna double check.
5 of us. Yeah. And Missy helped. And
Because I was asking some of
all
the
these
kids.
girls helped me get ready.
Somebody took off on it, and I've got this one. Tanner had that one.
Okay.
At 11:30.
How'd these papers go?
I haven't. I just read enough for a rough,
Okay.
kind of a rough draft. I haven't like read them yet. So
Okay. Okay. And we can get.
We'll probably just.
You want to? Would you also check and see if maybe we can take the van? Not the big van, the your van.
They don't have another speech,
Okay.
college speech until April 4th.
All right. Thanks.
But she's already
Okay.
she's giving them information for
Let
free.
me see if I can run off some
All
coffee.
at once, and I'm thinking these guys are gonna freak. Because they've
Okay.
got a persuasive, and then an informative, and then a ceremonial.
Oh, we're right now. Yeah, that exactly.
I wonder, she's perfectly fine with double dipping.
Make sure that instructor is not all instructor.
Okay, there's that one.
No benefits, but yeah, she's good. But, yeah, no, this is what I'm doing is next is checking if it, so it should come. You should get another email in a little while.
Okay. The one that was the John Pittman, is that too?
No,
I'm glad
no.
you have it. Because
I'm slow.
it's okay.
Too wordy?
No,
Or do you want to look at it and see if there's anything in there you want?
Yeah, no, don't freak until tomorrow. I'll have them
Okay.
checked in today. Then they'll.
well, there's so many books out.
Yeah.
It's
keep
okay.
track of all these.
It's okay. That's why we check them out so that
Do
you
you
can
have that one? Do you
No,
have all of these?
any of the poetry, but that's okay. And I'm gonna send Barb an email that the poetry books are in your room in case she's looking.
Yeah, we're just kind of doing poetry right now. We're just having the kids.
That's fine.
Because they're going to have to write one and enter another contest. So
Good.
I've entered.
Did you see that there's a book on your cart that's green and it's about this high and it's hard.
And this one is the one that has
and that has Clifton Clyde poetry kids in it that entered a contest.
request for
I'll show you.
reconsideration.
Let me, what I got from the manufacturer.
And then while you're doing that, I'll look for that school library bill of rights. I think that one. Okay. No, it's already in. Yeah. The access to resources and services in the school library. The school library plays a unique role in promoting, protecting, and educating about intellectual freedom. So, while we want the kids to be able to choose what they want, you're working with the staff to provide things that they'll actually use and need, and teaching the staff really kind of that you gotta let the kids choose, Members of the school community involved in the collection development process, need to have that criteria of, you've got to kind of put your own. That's one thing that's hard when you're like, I was both public and school. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, point of view, but it's still got to be available to the people that do have those beliefs. And I think there's some common sense in there too. Major barriers between students and resources may include imposing age, grade level, or reading level restrictions, and you don't want to do that. Limiting the use of interlibrary loan and access to electronic information. This thing about barriers are kind of the things you don't want to do. They would prefer you not to do. But it may be your school board might have to adopt this. But I think if it's common sense stuff, they won't fall. But there have been court decisions here. Ethically, school librarians find guidance for selecting resources with the Bill of Rights and Code of Ethics and the Freedom to Read statement. So anybody working in a library is ethically responsible to provide access to resources with varying perspectives for students, both curriculum and personal information. I don't know if I put this one in there, special collections. No. I'll make you some copies of this too. Sometimes in your not selection policy, it's your our driver.
Oh, okay.
I'm popping in this. It's Fort Riley, and it's very comprehensive. It's 27 pages, but it's not just selection. It's policies and procedures for your library. And although we're not that big a library, sometimes some of the stuff that comes in there you might want to add eventually. A policy for it. I'll just stick it in here. Here's wording. Gifts and donations to the school library are accepted with the understanding that the decision for use and for the use of the materials will be determined using your policy. And that eventually they're going to be weeded. Yeah.
And it was like, for that, and you can't even start reading it and not see.
Yeah, the first, yeah.
Oh, it's like because reading it, something they didn't reading.
Yeah.
Maybe that was, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I have that here older kids in my I go to Statewide and label them however they say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they know.
Yeah.
And when you have a relationship with your child, with how come you have you preview it if it's something you think they might not want.
Yeah.
It can't just be us. 10,000 plus in the library.
Yeah, and very rarely you get that parent that will. You can say, well, there was a girl that wanted to check out all the gray book, and I did. I called her mom and I said, I let her check it out, but you guys. But she said, okay, good, we'll read them together. She was in high school. She was probably junior, senior. And I said, okay.
I want to read
Just wanted to give you a heads up. That would be some interesting discussions, wouldn't it? Here, I'll make a copy of this too. It's got about the donations, gifts and donations, and that if it's not relevant anymore, you're gonna read it.
The library supplies and stuff, sometimes goes about free money.
Yeah.
I think we got something like the library supplies or something, but I didn't think
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah. No. And if you've got more than $100, you get the discount, the Lycris discount.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Um,
That.
if you, let's see. Let me go
That would
to,
be enough to at least cover the shipping.
yeah. On our web page. Under services. Well, okay, statewide discount. Uh-huh. Resources sharing. Let's see, it was. Library supplies, equipment, and furniture. 18% off for supplies, 7% for equipment and furniture, a minimum order of $100. You get free shipping.
Oh.
You don't have to create an account.
Is there a
We've got,
code?
yes, and it might just be Lyrasis, but if you guys want me to send you, I've got a price. Well, maybe I can just dump it in there. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's.
Probably for some of us, but they're like a free bag or something.
Yeah.
Really, when you can pay money.
What do I call it? Okay. Demco. The pricing changed from what I've got. I mean, percentage. But here's it's contract C04100.
You write that whole thing in there.
Just C04. It'll say, go to, when you order, just, it'll ask for the contract, I think, or the certificate. I'm gonna dump it into your thing, but I just found it, so. And then above here is the supplies that they actually have on hand here at CKLS that you can purchase. It's that cost, I think. Okay, it's in that folder. Everything else. Is there anybody online still? No, it's not promo, it's a contract. So just, you could even put it in, let me put it on your PO. Just put contract, and you could put LY, there's whatever that was.
And so it won't show it to me and say, when did you,
Yeah,
when did this go?
yeah, yeah.
And then you can pop one. How much did you get?
18% on supplies.
Shelf markers, you can put in.
Oh. It's furniture and equipment was the 7%. And I'll update that in the folder.
Very cool.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay.
I like those. Drive.
Mm-hmm. You might
Do
have,
we just go into our Google Drive, share with me, or do we go back to that email and link it to them?
you should be able to get through shared with me.
That's how I was doing it, going back to the email.
Once you download it, I mean, you know, once you open it, it should be in your My Drive or shared with me. Uh-huh.